and welcome to another episode of the Front Office Podcast. I am your host, Marcus Cameron, and as always, we are sponsored by Tees and Trees Clothing. Tees and Trees is where we stand on business. Welcome. I hope everybody's doing well out there. It's about 1:15 Wednesday morning. Trying to get some recording done that I didn't get done on Sunday. I want to talk about some NBA information. Got a lot of news. A few things to go over, some big headlines. I want to start with the news. First up, the biggest news of the day, I think, was Doc Rivers. Actually, the biggest news of the day was Adrian Griffin getting fired from the Milwaukee Bucks head coaching position and the Bucks hiring Doc Rivers, which, to be honest, is a kind of fucked up situation. The Bucks were second, I think, in the East standings. This particular situation is being compared a lot to when David Blatt was with the Cavs and they fired him. I did not know that the Bucks had hired Doc Rivers already as a consultant. And there's been some leaks or some different, sources saying that, he had a problem with different coaches and people quit and the players weren't really feeling the scheme and things of that nature. At the end of the day, man, again, you don't want to see nobody lose their job. It's fucked up, especially if you're doing actually a pretty good job at it. I mean, second in the East I don't necessarily think that's fireable offenses, but, maybe they just felt like it wasn't the right fit. They weren't going to be able to go forward. And usually when something like this happens, honestly, the players bought into firing the guy. If the players are not in there fighting for him and be like, yo, I'm not playing for anybody but him, I don't see the management not firing somebody. That's just how it works in those type of positions. As far as who they hired, I want to be real clear on this. I'm not a Doc Rivers hater. I actually think Doc Rivers is a decent coach. I think he's a player's coach. He knows how to get guys together. He has good values about what he talks about and the things that he preaches. He's a defensive guy, but Doc just don't have the results, in my opinion, to be considered like, top 5 coach or whatever the case may be. But he does have NBA championships. He's been to a lot of playoff games. He's got a good team. They talk about the defensive lack of defensive prowess with the Bucks. You traded away your defense. You traded away your best perimeter defender to get Dame Lillard, which is not a bad trade-off. You're getting a all-world talent on the offensive end and capable on defense. And you traded to get him, and you got rid of your kind of Mr. Do-everything that nobody talks about. Rebounds, tough defensive stands, can give you 20, 25 when you need it. So it's a tough situation in Milwaukee. It'll be a drama show from now on to see how it works out, especially with a big name like Doc Rivers. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. The next bit of news is a little bit older, but with the playoffs and the NFL going on, I haven't had a chance to address it. The Toronto Raptors traded Siakam. I'm not even about to try to say his first name. Siakam to the Pacers. I believe the trade was for Bruce Brown, a young guard, Narwa or something like that. I've seen him play a couple times. He's pretty good. And I think some draft picks. The Raptors are just swapping up or gathering draft picks. They're literally gathering draft picks like Thanos was gathering Infinity Stones. And that's good for them. Like, watch out for the Toronto Raptors in the next couple of years. They got a good, core guys, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Quigley, a few good draft picks and a few free agents, and Toronto's going to be a problem in the East, so definitely keep your eye on them. Another trade, the biggest trade of the day so far, was Terry Rozier to the Miami Heat. This one I think has a little bit more bite. The Siakam to the Pacers is good. I think it's a great fit, especially once they get Halliburton back. They're competitive without him, but they're definitely not a threat to anybody in the East without Halliburton. They got to get Halliburton back, and Buddy Hield has to shoot the ball better if he's not on the trade block. From what I understand, he's on the trade block too. But as far as the actual Rozier to Miami trade, great trade for Miami. Great trade for Miami. I'm not sure what. Only thing I can think of with Hornets, I haven't watched any news as far as like seeing them break down the trades or anything like that, as I could say maybe cap room. You're getting Kyle Lowry back, which if they keep him, they keep him. If they don't, they probably gonna cut him or just release him outright and let him sign with whoever he wants to sign with. But that's a really good trade for Miami. I think Terry Rozier is a very gritty point guard slash two guard, combo guard, if you may. Tough player. He's been in a lot of big games, knows how to score, knows what it's like to fit in with a team and come in and play. And I just think in that culture, it should work out pretty well, especially if he's going into that starting role. And now you can, Miami's getting a little bit deeper as far as the depth on the bench and things of that nature. So it's a good move for the Heat. Very unexpected. I don't think anybody saw that on their radar. Rozier, and you got him from the Hornets, who are having a pretty bad season right now. It's just not looking good. Melo's been out. They just got Bridges back. They're in rebuilding mode. They seem like they're in rebuilding mode every fucking year, but not a bad move for Rozier, not a bad move for the Heat. Let's see how that looks and how that works out with them. Embid, Joel Embid, not this past night, but on Monday night, had 70 points and 18 rebounds against the San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wemby. We're going to call him Wemby. I'm not going to make that mistake. I haven't watched the game. Honestly, me and my wife was watching True Detective and trying to catch up, and I was giving myself a mental break from sports after the football weekend and trying to record and things of that nature. So I didn't want to watch any NBA. I should have. Definitely used Prize Picks. Prize Picks Front Office Podcast still wants to do some business with y'all. Get at us. But he had 70 and 18. I think he shot like 42 shots. It was a great number. It's impressive. It's sad when I have to look at the game to see how it went down, because if they just was giving him the ball, bro, like every time and just making you go down the score, yeah, that's impressive, but it's not really you just kind of naturally just getting on the heater and scoring that. But, I mean, it's an impressive feat. Don't take anything away from Joel Embiid, man. Kudos to him. There's some historic things. I think only one other player has done 70, 10, and 5 or something like that. So it was a crazy stat like that. Historic night for him. Definitely a huge push in the sense of him actually going to back-to-back MVPs. I think he's clearing above everybody else right now. I don't think anybody's close. But we do have the whole second half of the season, 2 weeks before the All-Star break. So we'll see how that turns out. And Philly, I think, is third in the East. I think they're like a game or a half a game behind Milwaukee. So they're doing well. Another big night for another big man, Karl Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves, 62 points. Now, Karl Anthony Towns' 62 points was a little bit more controversial than Joel Embiid's. Joel Embiid's, they won. Everything was great. Everybody's congratulating them. Karl Anthony Towns was not the same situation. He was shooting the ball well. I did catch some clips and kind of watch some highlights from this. Shooting the ball well, started off hot, and just couldn't stop missing. And apparently the team or somebody on the team got word that Embiid was doing the same thing. So they decided as a team that they were going to just feed him the ball, get him the ball. They were asking assistant coaches. It was reported that they were asking assistant coaches, what does Embiid have? And just totally disrespecting their opponent, disrespecting the Charlotte Hornets. And they coach let them have it. Listen to it.
And there was a lot of immature performances here throughout the roster. We totally disrespected the game ourselves, and we got exactly what we deserve. So,
I mean, he really let them have it, and that's what good coaches do. That's a young team in Minnesota. They're first in the West. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna not take it seriously all the time. It's hard to be locked in 24/7. They'll learn from it, and Chris Finch, kudos to him. He made sure they did. He made sure the public knew that they did. That's what you do. You call your team out on bullshit, and he did. Said it was the worst brand of basketball. It's embarrassing. No respect for your opponent. That's a guy to me who's not worrying about his paycheck. Like he's telling the truth. He's saying what it is. If they fire me because Anthony Edwards don't like what I said or Karl Anthony Towns don't like what I said, then you know what? That's what's going to have to happen. And I respect that. It takes a lot to kind of stand up and criticize your team publicly like that. But if it's needed, he felt like it was. I think it was warranted. Shout out to him. Shout out to him for sure. Devin Booker. Not Monday night, but Sunday night. I think it was Sunday or Saturday. It was one of the nights when the NFL, the playoff games were going on. Devin Booker had 50 points in 3 quarters. I think he had like 30 in the first half. He's been getting hot lately. The Suns, I think, have won like 5 straight, maybe 6. They're picking it up a little bit. I still think they're missing some pieces. But you know what? That's a good lead into the next thing I want to go over anyway, which is currently the contenders in the East and the West, in my opinion. Sorry. I needed wine because Anthony Davis just left me holding the bag tonight. All I needed you to get was 2 points. 2. 9 minutes to go. The line was 27.5. You got 26 points. 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and you couldn't muster up 2 points. Great game. Couldn't give me 2. That's kind of fucked up. So a little wine makes everything a little bit better. But back to the East. East, the contenders, of course, you got the Celtics at number 1. You got the Bucks, like I stated before, at number 2. 76ers at 3. And I think, in my opinion, you got 3 other teams, the Knicks, Pacers, and the Heat, who are going to kind of compete. I'm not sure about the Cavs. They don't know whether they're going to move Donovan Mitchell or anything like that. So I don't think they're a threat. As far as the Celtics, I do think they're the best team. The only thing that does bother me about them is they get very stagnant on offense sometimes, and I'm not sure if that's Joe Mazzulla or if that's just how the guys are playing, but it's like they're standing around watching another guy play basketball. And it's just not a great brand of basketball if you're trying to win championships. You can win like that when the guys that you have are just above and beyond better than everybody else, and I just don't think that's the case. Like, they're better, but Jason Tatum is one of my favorites. He's not above and better than Joel Embiid or what's my guy's name? Jokic. Porzingis is the 3rd best option in the NBA. That's a big move for them, and I think getting Drew Holiday is going to help them come playoff time. So we'll see if they can fix that. With the Bucks, they just fired their coach and hired a new one. That should tell you all you need to know about them. Even though they're in second, right now they're just up in the air. I think it's hard to predict. Great players that want to win. We'll see if Doc can pull it together. That's all I'm going to say. We'll see if Doc can pull the shit together. The 76ers, I do like the Sixers. I like Maxey. Embid, like I said, I think is going to be the MVP. If barring injury or anything like that. But I don't think they have enough to beat the better teams in the East. I know they're sitting at 3rd right now. They look good. They're playing a good brand of basketball. I forget their coach name. They got him from Toronto. Nick Nurse. He's doing a good job. The team seems to be buying into what he's saying. So, he's doing his part. The players are doing their part. They look great. I just don't know if it's going to be enough come playoff time. They're going to have to prove it to me. I don't think you're beating Boston in 7. If Doc fixes that shit in Milwaukee, I don't think you're going to beat them in 7. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure you're going to beat Philly in 7. I mean, not Philly, Indiana in 7. I'm not sure y'all going to beat them. So that's where I'm at with them. The Knicks have been coming on. I've been watching basketball a lot, but, The Knicks have been really coming on. They've been winning a lot of games. Brunson looks great. Randall's been playing consistent. The OG trade was big for them. They can definitely make some noise. The Knicks is another you're going to have to prove it to me team. And the Pacers is another you're going to have to prove it to me team. Now, Halliburton's out right now. Once he gets back, we'll see how that Siakam trade works out. Right now, I think it was a good trade for them. They're trying to win. They're trying to win now. They're trying to get over that hump. And we'll see if they can do it. But they got to get better production out of Miles Turner. He just got to be more consistent. I'm not saying play better because he's had games where he just looks all world. But you got to be more consistent than that. He's got to be more consistent in order for them to advance in the playoffs. On the west side of the things, listen, the West is really the wild, wild West. Right now, you got the Wolves at the top. You got the Thunder, you got the Nuggets, and you got the Clippers. That's your top 4 teams. Starting with the Wolves, we just discussed them. They lost to Charlotte at home behind Karl Anthony Towns or that team chasing records. That should tell you all you need to know about them, where their mindset is. Now, are they capable of running the table in the West? Yeah. Yeah, because I think they have the next superstar, Anthony Edwards. The combination of Towns and Gobert is great. They got great young players. I think it's McDaniels. He's a good player. Nas Reed. And you also got Mike Conley, steadying the ship at the point guard role. No egos involved with them. You don't see really any drama with that team besides what just happened the other night. They have a chance. I'm not sure if they have enough to beat the third best team, which is the Denver Nuggets, but we'll get to them in a second. OKC. OKC had a little drama with their game with Portland tonight. Chauncey got thrown out, supposedly called timeout when he was getting a trap, but OKC got the win. OKC plays a good brand of basketball. They, too, have the same problem as Boston, though. When the game is tight, they literally are just sitting around watching Shea play basketball. They're not moving. They're not screening. They're not cutting. They're not doing anything. Another young team. Chet's starting to come back to earth a little bit. He's had like maybe 6 subpar games in a row. Another mid game tonight. But he'll pick it up. It's technically his rookie year, even though, he's been in the league 2 years. He got hurt, was out for the whole first year. So technically it's his first year. He's a rookie. But they got good pieces. They got really good pieces. Both Jalen Williams are ballers. Josh Giddey, Lou Dort. They got real players over there. I think the only thing that may hurt them is they play a brand of basketball where they have to run all the time. They don't have a big man, a real center. No offense to whoever playing center, but you're not in the top 5 or anything like that. There's no disrespect to you, whoever you are, bro. But I do like OKC. I don't think they're gonna get out of the first round. We'll see how the playoff seedings go, but it's some heavy hitters. I think you got the Lakers, Dallas. Who else is at that bottom? I think the Kings are right at 5. You got some heavy hitters down towards the bottom. So I'm not sure even if you keep that number 2 spot, I'm not sure you're getting out that series. But, again, you may be the changing of the guard. Young team can go out here and prove what's wrong. We'll see. Now, the Nuggets. I watched the Nuggets play tonight against the Pacers, and I watched the Nuggets play the other night when they played Boston. The Nuggets are still the best team in the NBA. I hate to say that shit. I can't stand Mike Malone ass, but they play the best brand of basketball in the NBA. They have the best pick and roll. I'm not going to say they have the best 1-2 option, but it's damn sure top 3. And Murray and Jokic, the complementary players are really complementary players. Like, they really complement what they're trying to do. That coaching staff, as much as I didn't like his old jabs at the Lakers and all that shit after the season, after they beat them last year, Mike Malone is on his shit. His coaching staff is on their shit. They know their players. They know their personnel. They do a good job. That was a big win tonight against the Pacers. An even bigger win against Boston. That was a good game. And they went in there and handled business. And Boston looked like the team that just was known. And they got the championship experience. They're the defending champs. Gotta respect them. I think they're playing the best brand of basketball in the NBA right now. Even if they don't have the best record, they are definitely playing the best brand. Nothing is forced. Nothing is forced with them. Nothing. If Jokic got it going, they going to Jokic. If Murray got it going, they going to Murray. They can switch off at any point in time. If Caldwell Pope done hit 3 or 4 3-pointers, they going that way. If Porter's got it going, they're going that way. They play the best brand of basketball in the NBA, hands down. Clippers just beat the Lakers tonight. No LeBron, no excuses. Kudos to the Clippers. They played a good game. Harden looked great. They're missing Zubac, and they're still winning games, which is a positive thing. If I'm Ty Lue, I feel good about that. They're still getting it done. They're still getting W's, and they're not going to be in the play-in. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be one of the top, probably top 4 seeds, like they are currently, unless somebody gets hurt, God forbid. But they do play a good brand of basketball, and they also have that thing where it can be anybody's night. Tonight, I think Kawhi Leonard maybe missed 2 shots, maybe 3, some shit like that. Paul George had an off night, but Harden was having a good game. Russ had a great game off the bench. Norman Powell, Terrence Mann. They got great pieces. Good coaching staff. They play hard. They play good defense. They're definitely scary. The Clippers are definitely scary. Hopefully we'll get a 4 or 5 matchup with them. I'd love to see them play the Kings. I think that's a really good matchup. But I think the Clippers can edge that out. But they earn where they are. A lot of people talked a lot of shit about that, including myself, about the whole Harden trade. And he don't want to play ball, but Harden looks good. Behind Jokic and Murray, I think nobody runs the pick and roll in the NBA better than Harden. Maybe Kobe White from Chicago. I know y'all probably don't watch a lot of Chicago Bulls game, but I'm an NBA junkie. I watch any NBA game. Real live junkie, man. I will watch OKC play Charlotte. I've watched Charlotte play Toronto. The only team I won't watch play is the Washington Wizards. I will not watch the Washington Wizards. I don't care who they playing. They could be playing the Lakers. I'm not watching that shit. But yeah, I think those are the top 3 guys who really run the pick and roll really well in the NBA. I'd say Murray, Harden, and then probably Kobe White. It's just hard to stop it. It's really hard to stop it, especially when you got an aggressive ball handler who can come off of that screen and he can give you a floater, he can give you a jump shot. He really makes you have to work to beat him to the spot, and even if you do, is a good enough passer to get the pass over to the big guy who should be cutting in or popping out. So it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. So we'll see how that works out. Of course, I'll discuss the Lakers. That's the team I'm pulling for, Team LBJ. They're not a hot mess. The Lakers are not in panic mode. They shouldn't be anyway. But they're not having the season that they thought. Injuries, guys not necessarily performing up to what they thought they were going to perform to. Mostly Austin Rivers and Rui. They've been kind of up and down. Austin had games where he looks like he deserves every penny of that contract. And he has games where it's like, I still believe in him though. I think he's a solid basketball player. I don't think he's a bust in any way, shape, or form. I think the formula for the Lakers is off. And it's because of personnel. You brought Gabe Vincent in thinking that you were going to get that shooting. And just watching the game tonight, I love Jared Vanderbilt. He plays hard, really plays tough on the defensive end, active. He's like 6'11". Can dribble a little bit. The only problem is I think, and I'm sure Ham wants to avoid this. I'm pretty sure Darvin Ham knows this. He always ends up with a wide open 3 in the corner somewhere, and they encourage him to shoot it. And I think they should stop encouraging him to shoot it. Like, stop running to the spot. Let Christian Wood run over there. I'd rather Christian Wood run to that open spot than Jared Vanderbilt. What Jared Vanderbilt does well is rebound the ball, cut to the basket. Cam Reddish, who I liked him ever since he came out of Duke. Good shooter, not knocked down just yet. You need to get him going. He needs to get in his mind, hey, I don't have to always shoot threes. I can dribble the ball. I can get to the basket. I'm athletic. I can go dunk on somebody. they have to take pressure off of AD and LeBron or give them options. Rivers has to play better. The trade rumors with D'Lo and DeJounte Murray, if the trade is, the rumors are true, if it's Murray, Hood Schifino, and I think a first or a second round pick for Murray, it's not a bad trade. Number one, you upgrade the defensive side as far as getting that guy, because right now everybody that plays the Lakers is attacking Austin Reeves. Everybody that plays Brooklyn, Cam, what is his last name? I don't know. The ball hog that played for the Nets. I call him ball hog because every time he touches it, he's shooting. Cam Johnson. That's it. Cam Johnson. Killed him. I think he had like 35. Tonight, it was James Harden. It was Russell Westbrook. It was anybody that Austin Rivers got switched on to, they're attacking. And I think that's because he's not supposed to be in the starting lineup. Like, I was under the assumption that Austin Rivers was going to be going for 6 man of the year type thing. And because of injuries and different lineup changes and different things that Darvin Ham wanted to do, he's been starting a lot. I think he's better when he comes off the bench because you get to go against that second unit and even finishing games in crunch time. Like, you kind of forget about him. But when you put him out there and once teams start seeing it, you got to be able to adjust, and they are definitely cooking him. They are cooking his ass like a bowl of rice. So hopefully they'll figure that out. It should be an interesting next couple of weeks, honestly, in the NBA. Just because the trade deadline's coming up, it's a lot of teams that's going to make some moves. I think the Bucks are probably going to make another move. I know the Lakers are going to make a move. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Suns make a move. It's just what can they get based on what they already have. And that's what makes it interesting going into All-Star weekend. But that's all I got on the NBA side, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Of course, as always, man, click, like, and subscribe, share if you feel in the channel. If not, comment, let's argue in the comments respectfully. Respectfully, man. But as always, man, it's always a pleasure to be with y'all and chop it up a little bit. And I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. Football weekend, championship weekend. I will do my picks on Friday morning, and I'll have them out by the evening, so you have a full weekend. We were 4-0 last weekend. Y'all might want to ride the train. Follow us. Follow the Front Office Podcast, man. Peace. The Front Office Podcast is sponsored by Tees and Trees. Tees and Trees is where we stand on business.